on the other hand, non-believers do not have any place in the society.
Who says non-believers do not have any place in society?
Well,
they have got a place in nature, therefore they have got a place in society. After all, they have been created by God, they are being nurtured by God.
Yes,
so
but you said that this was a modern phenomenon of human rights where we have taken it to such an extent where they have their position in the religious society. Even now, if you go to developing world, it will still not be tolerated if you are a disbeliever.
Oh yes, if they tolerated them, we would not have such discussions. All these discussions are in order for the religious society to think more pluralistically. Of course, after all, this is the point of this discussion. This is not a solved problem. We are talking like this, and we are introducing these ideas in order to get the idea of tolerance across the people, in order to make them more tolerant towards non-believers and towards people who think differently. That is the whole point of these debates.
One question, then here and then there. So, going back to rights and duties, as a practicing Christian, as we have this right to practice our faith, as do the Muslims and the Jews. But as a father, I'd have a duty to protect my son, and I have a duty to bring him up in the Christian faith. Because as the foundation, I think, on all our religions, we have that duty to bring children into God's family. This pluralism, though, detracts from my duty to protect my child in what I believe is right, and in what I believe, or what a Muslim may believe, or what a Jew may believe, in what is right. And accepting pluralism, we have to knock away that protection that we're trying to build up for our kids, in which our religion actually dictates that we should be. This, safeguarding of our, keeping it pure and bringing our children up in it. So how can you, on the one hand, allowing religious pluralism without detracting from these equally valid religions?
No, so long as you think that it is your duty to bring up your child according to your own beliefs and convictions, then you have to do it.
But that doesn't agree
no.
with religious
Why? Why it doesn't? I mean, when your child is mature enough, then he will decide, or she will decide, what kind of religion he will choose for himself or for herself. So I mean, here again we have got the idea of cause and reasons. You see, people when they are immature, they do not work or according to reasons. I mean, their ability to choose and to understand and to choose from among different arguments is still very weak, so they cannot do it. So they need somebody to give them, to offer them the opportunity just to know something, or perhaps to have a particular conviction. But when they are mature enough, mentally as well as physically, then of course it is their turn to find and to choose whatever they like. Then and there, of course, we should not bar them from choosing, and that of course will be inconsistent with pluralism. But so long as they are children, no, it is the duty of the parents to guide them, such as you guide them in matters of health, education. Also you have to guide them in matters of religious education and the rest.
The distinction that you made in theoretical reason and practical reason, or causation.
Causation is a better word, yes.
I was reminded of the question that was asked at the back about, therefore, what would be the source of law in what you call a religious society of the type that you advocate. And it seems that on theoretical grounds, following the last answer, that in fact the law theoretically should be secular law. However, for practical reasons, one may accede to religious law. For example, a sort of law that would ban people wearing the dress of their choice. One would accede to that on practical grounds because one has no other choice. But theoretically, therefore, in your type of religious society, one would still be erecting, in fact, a secular constitution precisely in order to be able to mediate and recognize religious differences, so that theoretically your position is identical to one advocated by a liberal secularist. Is that?
In liberalism, you look at religion as something, not divine anyway, something which is there, of course, a fact of history, considered by some people as divine, but you are indifferent towards it, and you, of course, leave people free to choose whatever religion they want. And of course, atheism and non-belief are on a par with theism and belief and so on and so forth. So this is the position in liberalism. In a religious society, and in my definition, a religious society is a society in which the majority of the people are sincerely religious. Not by force, not because of the authority, not because of the law, and not because of the legislations. The majority of the people are sincerely religious, are sincere believers. This is the religious society, okay? Now, in this society, a democratic rule requires that the values of the people be respected on the part of the state. A democratic rule requires that the values of the people, which are of course religious values, are to be respected on the part of the state. So here you have got religion, you have got your sincere believers, and you have got the rules of the religion which is practiced by the people, and people are really content and happy with religious laws being ruling over the society, because they sincerely do believe in it. The problem arises when this religiosity weakens and becomes feeble, and or perhaps when the majority of the people are no longer religious, sincere believers. There, of course, you have got a problem, and there you have to leave it to the people to choose which way they would like to be ruled over. So the legitimacy, what I'm saying is this: the legitimacy of the law comes from the people, does not come from any religious authority. That is the delicate difference between a religious rule and a rule in a religious society. This is the subtle difference. The legitimacy does not come from any religious authority, does come from the religious people, the bulk of the society. But since they are religious, naturally the law will become religious.
Can I pursue this one step further, because I think it's important. So is it not what you just said leads us to the distinction between liberalism and democracy? That what you're basically saying, if it comes from the people, if fascism arises from the people, therefore the constitutional rights associated with liberalism could be trampled upon, could be set aside in a democratic way. In other words, as Hayek says, democracy is not opposed to totalitarianism. It's liberalism that's opposed to totalitarianism. So the question here becomes this: if you shift legitimacy from clerical authority to popular authority, you still are faced with the problem of the extent and the depth of the populist feelings. And if the populace feels that atheists should have no right, then you're faced with a problem, and hence, hence
of course,
the whole argument.
Yes, definitely we will face a problem, but that is against the issue of causes rather than reasons. We may not like the feeling of the people, but the feeling of the people sometimes may become so strong that might force you to legislate what they would like. So here we may not like it as individuals, but looking at the society in bulk, that will happen, and nobody can actually resist it. So you see, again, on the one